Looking for the best Montessori friendly gifts for 6 to 12 month olds? Today I'm sharing all of our favorite items that we actually own or have used throughout this time period. If you guys are new here, my name's Rachel from The Confused Mom. Welcome to my channel. I share baby and toddler product reviews, activities, as well as Montessori at home tips. Make sure to hit that notification and subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. And definitely make sure to go back, check out my 0 to 6 month gift guide as well as my 1 to 2 year old gift guide after this. This video also has a blog post that goes with it if you need to go back, quick reference anything, or see more of my picks for any of these items, because most of the ones that we actually own came in either our Love Every Play Kit subscription or our Monty Kids subscription. However, all of these items can be found as individual ones, which I will link both of those options below. Love Every, Monty Kids also make fantastic gifts at this age, and I will leave links to my full reviews on each of those services too. Number one top pick for this age range is definitely going to be an object permanence box. So this was an item that has literally been around for like 100 years with good reason. I'm pretty sure it's my absolute favorite toy from this range. My daughter at almost 3 years old still plays with it. The name implies object permanence. It is teaching the concept in this age range that something can still exist even when you can't see it. It's also teaching cause and effect as well as working fine and gross motor skills. The reason I love it so much is you can actually play with it a ton of different ways. Obviously, dropping a small wooden ball that fit into it is going to be the first way to play with it. From there, you can actually introduce a slightly larger ball like these felt balls, which I will link these for individual sale as well. And that way your child has to actually practice pushing something into the hole. As they get older and have mastered both of those, you can introduce bigger sensory balls that I talked about in my 0 to 6 month play guide. Give them a basket full of balls that fit and don't fit, and teach them how to problem solve, that even though things can all be round, they may not all fit in the same hole. And then as they get even older, like my daughter is doing here, they can use this with a block set to create little different homes or worlds. Here my daughter's using it as her farm with her little farm figurines. So there's lots of different ways to continue reinventing this toy once your child has mastered it. Which also leads me to another item I strongly recommend, which pretty much every kid I feel like ends up getting, but this one's a little bit different, and that is nesting and stacking cups. So if you have watched all my Love Every Play Kit reviews, you know that they had actually discontinued their larger nesting and stacking cups, and I was super disappointed about that because we use it all of the time. Good news is, while they got rid of it from their play kits, they introduced it as an individual item for sale, which is the set I would highly recommend purchasing. When your baby's only like 6 months old, introduce just the first few. If you were to go on Amazon and buy a set of nesting and stacking cups, that's going to be about the size that most of them are. However, Love Every's continue for 6 more, and these get pretty big, and we use them for all sorts of activities. If you watch my Halloween activity video, you saw I gave her little ghost shape in one of those stacking cups. I use them for loose parts on her toy shelf all of the time. In my Montessori sensitive period for mathematics, you saw that we use them for different counting and sorting activities. I really can't recommend the larger portion of the stacking cups enough. We literally use them every day and week for pretty much 3 years now. The next thing is going to be this particular percussion instrument set. I got this for my daughter when she had turned 1, but there's a few items in here that make it fantastic to introduce as early as 6 months. There's items in there that are going to grow and last into the toddler years, into the preschool years. There's enough items in there where the whole family can play. It's no secret that music is another really valuable sensory input to introduce in the first year and all through early childhood. This is the set we have, and again, it has different items in there that you can pick out just for the earlier months, and as they get older, introduce some of the other items. Another one of our favorite items for this range is actually a Montessori cup. Whether it is Montessori or any sort of speech therapist or occupational therapist, they're all going to recommend getting rid of the sippy cups, getting rid of the bottles, and introducing an open cup. They won't shatter like glass, and they'll offer more weight than plastic, which is a much more realistic and richer sensory experience. You can introduce it once you've introduced solids and your child is sitting up independently. I would suggest only filling it up about halfway, because they are going to drop this and there's going to be spills and it will be messy at first. However, it will quickly become one of their favorite things. My daughter has loved walking around with this even at 3 years old. She still really loves this one for like fancy tea time, or she's having a special drink like prune juice, which is another helpful tip for you as your kids start to go on to solids if you need to get things moving. The next thing is going to be a wobble stacker. So we have this little wobbler, which kids do really like. My daughter didn't care for it so much. My son has really enjoyed it as early as 3 months. But the wobble stacker combines both the wobbler and also stacking rings, which makes it a really engaging toy. It has been around forever. It teaches balancing, it teaches early STEM concepts, fine motor skills. The next thing is going to be building blocks. Technically, you can introduce building blocks as early as like 4, 5, 6 months old. However, don't expect your baby to necessarily start stacking at that time. They will probably just mouth it, and it's another different grip for them to practice. But around 10 months old, you may start to see your baby stack little 1, 2, maybe even 3-piece towers. I have an entire blog post about my top building block picks, but the number one that I recommend, no secret here, is going to be Love Everys. I did a full review on it as well. And the reason I recommend it is your child won't get the full spectrum of use out of it at 10 months or in the first year. However, there are aspects of it that they will start to use as early as, like I said, 3 to 4 months, but really 6, 10 months. And it will grow with your child and last all the way into the elementary school aged years. For instance, it not only is a block set, it also is a shape sorter puzzle, which is another great thing to introduce at this age. It also converts to a pole car toy, which is another great toy to introduce at this age, and I will leave a link to one that I recommend below. It's a cute little wooden elephant. I wouldn't give them the full block set at this time. I would just give them, like I said, 2 to 4 blocks to start, or if you're using the shape sorter piece, just the shape sorting puzzle pieces with the box. It is like one of those larger items that is going to last much, much longer, but if you are looking for cheaper block sets, I will leave a link to that buying guide below. The next one is this little 3D object fitting puzzle, which is another classic Montessori toy you can introduce as early as 7 months old. Now, with this said, the traditional way of using it as a quote-unquote puzzle, they'll probably stop doing by 18 months. However, if you add it to a wooden block set, you could always use it for more imaginative play, like using these 2 pieces as pillars or an entryway for a building. And while this puzzle may seem super simple to you and me, it's actually helping baby build connections between the 2 hemispheres of their brain and is helping them learn to use both sides of their body at once, which will lay the foundation for them learning to get dressed by themselves later on. The next item that's really great that will grow with your child is a ball track. It's actually a classic Montessori toy, but there are a few different variations. In my 1 to 2 year old play guide, I actually talked about having a racetrack. So you could always do something more like that that is a little bit more whimsical. I also found this one on Amazon that combines both the ball track and the racetrack concept. It's teaching a wide variety of concepts depending on the version that you get, from velocity, early STEM concepts, potentially color sorting, and so much more. The next item is a Montessori weaning table and chairs. A Montessori weaning table pretty much just means weaning off the boob or bottle. And essentially all it is a child-sized table and chair. The big thing with Montessori is making sure that you have child-sized items so that they can mimic real life in a way that's developmentally appropriate for them, that sets them up for success in building their own self-confidence, inner reward system, fostering independence, all that good stuff. You can introduce it once baby is able to sit upright on their own. If you have multiple kids or plan to have multiple kids, the one I would suggest is the Montessori house bed. You can buy multiple chairs for it. It converts, so the table can actually convert to a bench, and then the chairs can actually convert to step stools. So it has a lot of multi-use factors in it. The other option I love is from Picalio, and you guys can use code TCM for 10% off. What's cool about this is it not only is like a weaning table option here, but you can also change the latches on it so that it converts to a kitchen tower helper. So if you go watch my Montessori gift guide for 1 to 2 year olds, you know I'm a big fan of a kitchen tower, toddler tower, whatever you want to call it. I have a full buying guide I will link in the description box as well. The one that we introduced at 10 months is the guide craft, and I felt really comfortable and confident introducing that at 10 months because all of the sides were enclosed, making it a really safe option in my opinion. However, However, if I were to have gotten the Picaglio one to start, I don't think I would have felt comfortable introducing it before 1 year old because all of the sides are open and it does pose a much greater risk. Personally, we did not get the Montessori weaning table until my daughter was about 3 years old. So the big question I would ask yourself is, what's my bigger pain point? If you were to get the Picaglio one and you have a handy person in your life, you can probably drill something in to create a safety net on the sides if that is a concern for you. The next item are going to be shape puzzles, which you can start to introduce around 7 months. So there's a few different options here. I would suggest having a set of individual puzzles like this. In my experience, they're great to toss in your diaper bag for travel, all of that type of stuff. If you wanted to make this even more engaging, you could also kind of take Lovevery's idea for their puzzles and get pictures of family and friends in your child's life and go ahead and cut them out so that they're at the base of the puzzles. The other type of classic Montessori puzzle, I don't even know what this is called, but it basically is all the same shape, all circles, but of various sizes. And this one was also one of my daughter's absolute favorite puzzles. And then the last great item to introduce as early as 6 months, or you can introduce it between 1 and 2 years old as well, would be a pickler triangle. I talked about that in my Montessori 1 to 2 year old gift guide extensively, but babies can actually climb before they can walk. Pickler triangle can give them a safe place to practice pulling themselves up, to practice climbing. It also is a great little slide, great way to burn off gross motor. We got it for my daughter around 10 months old. If your baby is 10 months or older, I'd also suggest watching my Montessori gift guide for 1 to 2 year olds. A lot of the items in that video I did introduce to my daughter around 10 months, and that gift guide is really intended to kind of be like the cornerstone of your playroom, if you will. Larger ticket items are going to last for years. Make sure to check out my holiday page, theconfusedmom.com/holiday. It has even more gift guides as well as buying guides if you're looking for ideas outside of these more classic Montessori options. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And in the meantime, check out my Montessori gift guide for 0 to 6 months, as well as my Montessori gift guide for 1 to 2 year olds. If you guys have any questions at all, my name's Rachel. Feel free to drop them below or hit me up on Instagram. And as always, have a good one.